Is it going?
It's going.
Is it going?
It's going.
I'm a baby. Look at me. Don't look at me. Look at me.
Yeah. You're one of the most secret, vulnerable people I've ever met.
Gotta be strong. I'm gonna hit it deep for a second. I like the thought of like I'm envisioning myself. I'm a man. I'm saying I'm strong. You're saying I'm very vulnerable. And we were just talking about how like I don't like to show as much.
I have a question for you. I'm gonna interrupt your train of thought. You ready? Yeah. Do you think it's stronger to try to portray strength through vulnerability or be vulnerable? What do you think it takes more courage? Because to me, being vulnerable takes more courage.
Well, 100%. I mean, we take the concept of like a couple podcasts ago when we were talking about like being a man and crying and how we feel like we have to be strong. So this mindset of what we've been taught of hiding the vulnerability through strength or actually accepting the vulnerability and finding growth through it. That's the true strength. We know that. It's just hard to act it. Well, that's why we were talking to our buddy was talking to us about 2 podcasts ago when it was the crying one and talking about how like normalizing men and crying and everything. And it was a moment that like I was at my dad's grave and I always try to hold this person, like not try to like show this full weeping in front of other people, and a random stranger, a woman, came and held me, and that's the educating moment. That's the educating moment of I don't have to be this perfectly strong man that society says I have to be, that it's more understanding and accepting that I'm allowed to break, I'm allowed to weep, and it still means I'm a strong man. And that's why, like you're saying, I think the strength is through accepting it and letting those emotions out.
I also just think it's valuable to feel your emotions and then understand why you're feeling certain emotions. You know, if you're angry, why are you angry? What triggered the anger? What's the boundary that was crossed that made you so mad? Rather than just like, I'm angry. Well, what caused you to feel this way? Like if you're feeling some sort of shame or jealousy, normally like if it's a jealousy thing, what is it that made you jealous? Usually it's something that you might want. Okay, well, if you want it, how do you go about it getting it? What's making you jealous? What's making you ashamed? What are you embarrassed about?
Well, that's what, like, we just had a little conversation before this. Like, I just had this moment this morning where I got a little bit out of place emotional. It's that I'm catching myself now where it's like when I'm anxious, how did I put myself into this anxious situation? I'm really frustrated. How did I put myself in this frustrated situation? At what point did I let loose in one angle and allow myself to have this effect? Now, it's okay that I feel anxious. It's okay if I feel emotional. It's okay if I feel upset. But I really have to diagnose like what brought me to this stage. Because at the end of the day, it's like, well, this person made me feel this way. Well, why did I let this person make me feel this way? It's how you perceive and how you speak about it. And I want to still feel it, but I also want to know that I'm growing through it and not giving myself crutches on they're the reason I feel this way instead of I allowed myself to get to this point.
Yeah. I don't know if necessarily letting the word let, like why did I let somebody make me feel this way? I think no matter what, you're always going to have an emotional response. It's how you sift through the emotion and react. So it's like I'll always have that instantaneous kind of gut reaction to something, but the work comes in sifting through that and regulating the emotion before it allows me to react in a way that's not conducive to what the behavior that I want to exhibit.
You said something powerful to me 2 days ago that really has been very beautiful. I had a buddy who passed away. I found out about it 2 days ago, and after all, like, in this stage of not trying to drink, trying to get better and sleeping, all this other stuff, like, this is the moment where I'm allowed to, like, kind of fall and be like, you know what, I'm sad, I'm in this place, I want to numb myself, I want to ignore this, and you just said, let yourself feel it. That's all you texted me. And I remember I looked back at it like 5 or 6 times. I just read, let yourself feel it. And I was just like, okay, here we go. And like, I just had some time myself, and like, you go through all of it, man. You're angry that your friend passed away. You're sad through the memories. You're sad through thinking what they could accomplish. 27 years old, man. You're thinking about like, this is such a pivotal transitioning period, and just let yourself feel it instead of normal vices where people like to numb themselves and ignore the now and let it get bigger and heavier.
I mean, that's literally what alcohol is. It's just a numbing agent.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
It's
I mean?
the amount of times, the last like 2 months when I've been drinking alcohol, that entire time I'm like, that's right, this is a depressant.
Yeah.
That's right, this is a
Yeah.
depressant. I'll be like tired, I'm like, oh yeah, this is a depressant. I'm like, keep forgetting that. And it's just like, there's beauty behind it. I mean, like, beautiful glasses of wine at night. Well, what is your opinion on, side quest, what's your opinion on doctors saying that a glass of red wine is good for heart health? You've heard that before, right?
I've heard it plenty of times.
Well, a glass of
It's-
red
it's
wine
not-
at night's good for heart health.
I mean, so is running. I mean, you go for a run. Like, there's so many things. Like, okay, sure, maybe there is a benefit, but there's also so much negativity
Like
that
nicotine.
comes.
There's benefits in nicotine.
Yeah.
There's also not benefits in nicotine.
Yeah, and then a lot of people argue that just having nicotine, just like a pure form of nicotine, like let's just use Zins for an example, can be beneficial. It's the amount of toxins that come when you're smoking that's a massive issue. You know what I mean?
Lungs,
like
man.
lungs. If you're shredding your gums with chewing tobacco and things like that, there's so many negative side effects that come with that, rather than just having a direct form of nicotine. Like if you just want the effect of nicotine as a drug, just doing that instead of, inhaling what is
Vape?
it? A vape all day or something like that. So
Well, cigarettes are better than vapes now.
I think it's a matter of the ease of access to a vape. You know what I mean? Like, you
And-
just have it in your pocket. People are smoking. Like, you don't, with a cigarette, you have to go outside. You have to take a smoke break. You can't just like light up a cigarette at work the way people vape at work.
When you get down to the end of a cigarette, you get down to that butt, right? The filter.
Yeah.
You don't smoke the filter.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, I'll throw it away. You get to a vape, get these young kids, poor, spending money on this. You get down to the juice is gone.
Yeah, they're still
You're burning
hitting
coil.
Yeah, they're
You're
still
burning
in.
metal. You're literally just creating toxins, and you're
Yeah.
like. But
So,
side note,
if I were to, my opinion in a glass of wine is good for your heart health, it's just an excuse to have a glass of wine. It's like, I get it, you like wine and you want to have a glass of wine at night and you want it limited to that. It doesn't change the fact that it's still a detriment to your body and your sleep by having that glass. Right? Now, if you're really that concerned about your heart, I mean, you can go for a 60-minute walk every day.
dude, all we need.
There's all sorts of stuff you can do. Like, if you're down to the wire and you're like, yeah, I'm having this glass of wine because it's good for my heart. You really just want to have a glass of wine. You're just trying to come up with a reason for why it's okay.
ease the mind.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's good for my heart. Okay, sure.
Imagine if we all, like, if there's one thing, one health benefit that I could really think could really reach people's souls. Everyone had just like a Whoop heart monitor.
Yeah.
And
Track your
everyone could
sleep.
track their sleep. If you could track your sleep, if people were educated on the effects of the quality of their sleep,
Yeah.
that would be the greatest lesson teacher.
Yeah.
No matter how much somebody can tell somebody this or that, you got to do this or that. Hard facts about how your sleep went
Yeah.
and the effects of it, and then prioritizing to get better quality, and then having the effects the next day of quality sleep. That wind's gonna sound so loud on this microphone right now. I love it. Do they call it fall because all the leaves are falling?
Yes. But yes, no, I think it's generally just an excuse. Most of the time.
I always thought that was intriguing. I was really excited to ask you that one.
I mean, I just think a lot of if I were to, because
I don't know anything about the
one
heart.
benefit of alcohol, I will give you, and it's not even from alcohol in itself. It's that people generally use it as a way to socialize, and
Which
hang
is
out.
beautiful.
My thing is, if you can just get to the point where you don't need it to socialize, you know what I mean? Like if people don't, it's called liquid confidence, liquid courage. So a lot of people are like, oh, without that, I would never have been able to do this. And it's,
100%. I understand that.
like,
And
I
there's
totally
times,
get it.
There's times where you feel a little bit like, you know what, it doesn't sound as heavy. Mm-hmm. And I get that.
And it breaks down some social barriers, so I can see that. It's just, I just wish people could see just how bad it is necessarily for you. You know what I mean? It's just a really tough. And I think a lot of people just drink just because everybody else. Yeah. Like it's
like I was saying, man. The reason why I'm in this little period of not trying to drink is because I just normalized too much, like after work casual drinking.
Yeah.
Where it was just like coworkers weren't really going to grab one. I was just grabbing one by myself. I'm like, that's not who Jacob is. That's not what I want right now in my life in this path. And I've lived that life younger. Yeah. And it was fine. And now it's just like, I understand that there's been normalizing a lifestyle that is a little tougher to kind of get out of because it is.
I have a question
alcohol.
for you.
Yeah.
Are you embarrassed to tell people you're not drinking?
I'm not embarrassed at all to tell people I'm not drinking. I think that.
So if somebody asked you.
Because was this when you laughed the other day at work?
Yeah.
And somebody?
Yeah, because I'm just curious. Not because
what did I say again? How did the conversation go?
You said, I forget what you said, but it was so far from just saying I'm not drinking right now that it confused me. Not because like
I heard you go.
I was like, what? And she
But
looked
what
at
did
me.
what did she
looked
ask
at me
me?
and she goes, what? And I'm like, he's just not drinking. And she goes, well, why didn't he just say that? And I said, good question. That's why I'm curious.
What was the question again?
Well, she was having a Halloween party.
Yeah. Oh,
I was like, I'm going to be sober. She goes, oh, I'm not going to be sober. And then you said you were going to be sober too. And then she was like, why are you going to be sober? And you said, well, it's just a Thursday night. I got to get up early. Like it's a Friday. I got work.
So what I think I'm trying to normalize for myself.
Uh-huh.
Oh, this garbage is going to be loud.
Everybody get close.
Everybody get close.
Defend the mic.
I think it's because I'm trying to normalize.
We'd have to wait. We'll put on the elevator music.
This is where it goes. Skip 10 seconds forward. Skip ahead.
It's almost done. It's funny how much this actually picks up on the outside.
Yeah, but watch this. See this really nice microphone?
Yeah.
See this really nice microphone? You see the difference? But yeah, it picks up that all right
that's
over
crazy.
there.
That's crazy. But I thought, so that's what I found is interesting because your initial reaction wasn't just to say, I'm not drinking.
But remember how it's just like right now, I've told people before, I'm not drinking right now.
Uh-huh.
And it's not about, I'm not drinking right now, because when I don't drink right now, and then I'm like, okay, I'm back to drinking, it's, okay, I'm back to drinking. I'm back to the style I was before this process started. What I'm trying to transition is normalizing dialogue around drinking.
Okay.
It's a Thursday. I got work tomorrow. It's not like a celebratory thing that I'm trying to do right now.
But that's never stopped you before. That was never a reason before.
Because I never normalized that style of dialogue, and that's why I'm trying to normalize it to make that like my lifestyle.
What about the dialogue? Because you said for you what you're going to work on is like special occasions, having a glass with your wife, or like if you're meeting with the family, having some wine, something like that.
Going to a Minnesota Vikings game where they kick the Packers' butt and put some beers back.
I only drink during special occasions.
Yeah, celebratory times.
Yeah, celebratory times. Which
Gatherings.
somebody could argue, be like, well, it's a party. I don't know.
I get it.
For me, it's like I don't drink. If we go out to a nice restaurant and Shelby wants to have a glass of wine, maybe I'll have a glass of wine. But in my head, I just identify as someone that just doesn't drink alcohol. That doesn't mean I can't drink alcohol. I just generally don't.
I remember when everyone saw you drink alcohol for the first time. All of our friends, they were just like, he just took a shot. Like, well, I can physically drink.
Yeah, I'm not allergic.
I just don't want to.
Yeah, and it's strange.
Uh-oh.
I've been. She's out. But yeah, I think it's almost weird that becomes the reaction. I think. I know.
And the neighbor's dogs.
You're so excited. Hi. Oh. That's okay.
I'm Josh's mom.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
I'm Finley City, so hi. How are you? Yeah, she's so excited.
Shall we cut it?
That's good. We're just filming a podcast right now. Do you mind just taking her back over? Thank you. Back out. Come on. Thank you. It was nice to meet you. Just like that.
Bro, this woman goes,
What's up, Daddy?
humans are silly.
How you guys doing?
Doing well. You alright?
Yeah. Great.
Is that a new haircut?
No, same haircut.
Same
just,
haircut.
Just comb hair.
We'll cut it. We'll get back to it.
That just went to shit.
You guys can keep it.
Nah.
You're good, bro. That poor woman, bro. Her whole face.
Is this over?
No, I didn't pause it. We can just keep going. He'll hang out with Shelby. I was like, you know what? This is a really good example to show that I don't have to cater to everybody. Because
Elaborate.
she was just gonna hang out, let her dog play, and it's fine. I get that, but there's no, oh, they might be doing something. So I was like, hey, we're shooting a podcast.
She looked so silly, man. That woman looked at, oh, she almost walked away like a little, like, not offended, but a little bit of like, oh. It's like, well, you're kind of on my property. That was just very overstimulating. That woman coming over here, our buddy Cordell walking in, the dumpster
Garbage
going
truck.
through. Those are moments where I'm just like, you know what? Cut. Like,
I don't know. I think it's important I think what we will also have to do as fall and winter goes, we'll just have to shut the garage door
absolutely.
and just do it that way. But the overstimulating, that is an interesting concept.
Oh, I get overstimulated.
Yeah, where it's like just a lot going on and you just have
Well,
to.
here's the other part is, where do you accept who you are? And I'm learning to accept my emotions and be like, it's okay if I leave this overstimulating moment.
Yeah.
Before, I'd feel like almost it'd be impolite, or it'd be almost impolite to like mention that to that woman. For me, that's overstimulating. But I should actually acknowledge it, like how you just did, or other people. I just feel like I'm just too nice sometimes, and I put everyone else before myself.
So something I've been learning are almost like strange social norms where it's weird to tell her, hey, honestly don't want you here right now. Like, you're just gonna have to leave. Like when people, like for example, a really good example is if you have nothing to do during the day and a friend says, hey, let's go hang out. You have no plans. Oh, you have no plans? Let's hang out. Almost like because you have no plans, that means that they can step in and make plans. And that's okay to ask, but the moment you say, no, I'm good, it's like, well, but you're not doing anything. Yeah, you're right. And I'm going to continue.
Yeah,
not
I'm
to,
gonna kick it to them.
continue
Yeah.
not to
Yeah.
do anything.
Do
You know
nothing.
what I mean?
Well, I just love in those situations where it's like, humans are so interesting just watching this, and it's like, Mecca. Someone, a neighbor's mother's watching their dog, comes over, and almost looked offended when you said that.
Oh, she was.
Yeah, but I'm over here, I'm like, but your tone was fine.
Yeah.
Everything was great. I'm just silly where it's like, you see a person who doesn't live in the neighborhood who's standing on someone's property
Yeah.
where the dogs, what just happened? Humans.
Are interesting.
Well, everyone's just like player one, man. Everyone's just playing their own game.
Yep.
Everyone's just doing
Main
their own
character
thing.
syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Which
they're-
I don't think it's necessarily bad to think
No,
of
they're
yourself
allowed to
as the
feel.
main character.
They're allowed to feel that way,
Yeah.
and you're allowed to feel that way.
Yeah.
She's allowed to feel offended.
Yeah.
You're allowed to feel
Exactly.
confident in
Yeah.
your statement. And I'm over here overstimulated. That's why the hood's up. I feel safer now.
Yeah. I had this thought. I had something.
This is a silly podcast.
It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one.
This is one of those just like go through the motion, get it done, feel the success of finishing it.
Yeah, it's a conversation.
It's just
Yeah, we're having a conversation, and it just so happens that during this conversation,
everything went
a
to
lot
shit.
of things are taking place. But I think social, like what's considered normal or routine, I feel like that comes into play a lot, and I experience this a lot at work, actually. Just because something's been done one way for so long.
Change
When
is
you
hard.
when something comes along, or if I come along and it's different, it's like there's either an acceptance or there's like a complete like we can't possibly do it that way. Well, why can't we do it that way? Well, this is the way we've done it. Okay, like does that not mean we can't try another way? You know what I mean? It's just very, especially if the new way is harder for people to adapt to. It requires more effort. And I just find that really interesting. Are you uncomfortable?
Just the wind so loud. I know it's affecting.
You know?
No, but I hear you.
I had a friend say to me, I had someone say, I've been back on the analysis of what a friend is, by the way.
That's how we close that book.
I've reopened the book and I'm writing a lot of new pages. So I had someone, they were telling me, they said, I have a better understanding of you now. It's like you're obsessed with perfection. And at the time, I'm just talking, so I'm like, whatever, you know, I don't need to argue. I understand where that comes from. But when I think about it, it's not an obsession with being perfect, because I don't think anybody can be perfect. But I just think people get really uncomfortable with a constant scrutiny and awareness of what they're comfortable with and that boundary, and anything stretching past that is oh no, you're just obsessed with perfection. Like, you don't have to do that. It's too much. Rather than turning the gaze inward and saying, what are the things that I'm doing that are keeping me in this comfortable bubble? And then how can I change that?
Dude, people are so hard to change, man. I mean, change is growth. And that's why,
Yeah.
I know, just like we were talking about before, everyone has a different perception. Everyone has the emotions that they brought to the conversation that you guys had were all from building blocks that brought you guys to this moment.
Yeah.
Now he's trying to understand, or they're trying to understand your building blocks
Yeah.
through perfection.
Yeah.
When you're like, actually, the way that I built my building blocks, this is how I
Yeah.
perceive it. And it's allowing ourselves to really hone in on, why does that person feel that way? Why does Marston feel like perfection? Why, like, is
Yeah.
that his satisfaction? And why does he find satisfaction in it? Why
Yeah.
does he find control, stability? Why is that the glue for you?
Yeah. But to me, it's not control or stability. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I'm uncomfortable a lot, all the time. So it's
Like,
like,
nobody sees that.
it's not a matter of, this isn't comfortable. I'm not cozy. I'm not waking up every day like, oh yeah, this is exactly, like, I'm cruising. That's not it. I think that's what people don't understand, is like, that's just how he is. Or it's just very strange that it's considered,
You got it.
what's the word? It's not, I'm not trying to say easy or anything like that. It's just the way that it's perceived, or the way that people perceive me, is almost like it's just a natural state of being. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, what you're doing, that's just you. And it's like, I mean, it was also just me to sit around and play video games all day for years. So I had to go from that person to this person. It's that doesn't just happen. You have to do stuff. You know, like an addict has to go from being that to this. Okay, how did they get there? What's the 12-step program?
And then it's, as you're in your
Yeah.
book of friendship and what is friendship,
Yeah.
you have childhood friends who've watched
Yeah.
you grow how many times, and you've kept
Yeah.
in touch here and there.
Yeah.
And you make me think about some of my oldest childhood friends and how many different stages of me have they seen.
Yeah.
When I have a new friend who's known me for 2 years and they go, wow, how you're changing.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
Well, it's funny you say that because I don't have any childhood friends anymore. You know, my best childhood friend died, and the others I didn't do a good enough job of staying in contact with. Now that's a two-way street. It's really easy for somebody to be like, oh, you're not reaching out, especially if they're all together. You know what I mean? Oh, you guys are all together, so I'm the one not reaching out because you're all in a group. So it's really easy for you guys to meet up and be like, oh, Marston's not reaching out to us. You all can get on the phone too. You know what I mean? That's something that's always driven me nuts. Well, how come you didn't reach out? Well, why didn't you reach out? Now, that goes against taking responsibility for everything. So yes, I should reach out. It's just interesting that the group of friends that stays together is the one that's like, oh yeah, that person never reached out. They're no longer part of the group. Yeah, easy for you to say. You were all in a group. You know what I mean? Whereas I'm traveling. I find that interesting. So yes, I did not do a really good job of reaching out to the people I grew up playing hockey with and things like that. And I miss those relationships, but it's just interesting to me that because that group all stayed together in the same location, of course you guys stayed friends, you know?
well, that's the thing, man. First off, I was laughing at the wind. That was so loud.
Oh,
Can't
hey.
wait to hear how loud that was. Not laughing at you. I'm over here just watching a tornado of leaves behind you. I'm like, but
Yeah.
I think it's intriguing because it's like when we had the first conversation about friendship and what it means and this and that. I'm over here just being like, why can't there be different tiers, levels, connections?
Well, I think there are. I agree with you.
But the thing about it was at the beginning of it, I never really put in consideration of like your connections, and that's the
Yeah.
other part is my perception, your perception. Why all the building that blocks that brought me to have the dialogue around friendship is why I have mine and why you have yours, and it's intriguing watching you now as you're creating different connections and different people
Yeah.
who are going to most likely be in your life for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Like me, of course, but like some other friends who are people who will poke at you, keep up with you, and watch you change during this period. But it's funny because right there you had somebody who was talking to you about like change already.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's also something I've been thinking about is I've been thinking of friendship almost like a torch or a fire. Mm-hmm. And when the fire is burning, you're friends. Mm-hmm. But if the fire goes out, you're not friends. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that you can't relight the fire and be friends again. But if you're not putting wood on the fire and if you're not pouring energy or gasoline on there and it's not burning, then are you friends? Mm-hmm. Or is it an old friendship that you used to have that's easy to return to and relight?
Or is it like a little fire where like you kind of huddle around it,
Yeah.
not letting it go out? So you're doing
Yeah.
a little, hey, like Merry Christmas,
Things like that.
How are the kids?
Yeah,
And so,
simmering,
there's
simmering coals.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
so-
But then you also have your bonfire where you're pouring all your energy
yeah.
and things like that. And it doesn't.
But
it's
I
not to
understand
say,
when some of them go out. Yes.
yeah, and it's not to say you can't relight the fire. That's not saying. It's just, I think there's this category. Like if I haven't talked to somebody in years and you become a new person. You know, not many people know this version of me. There's older versions of me that people probably know. And it doesn't mean you can't be friends again.
Well, it ties into the friends from day one who've like watched me go through many changes,
Yeah.
and now I have connections now in the last 1 to 2 to 3 years, and
Yeah.
they go, "Oh, you've changed." They go, "I've changed a lot, many times
Yeah.
in my life. You're just
Yeah.
in one of the stages now."
Yeah. So, you know, I don't know. I just think it's interesting. I also just think sometimes it's a little hypocritical and just socially normalized to say, yeah, we're friends. You know, how many people, if you went into work,
Oh, somebody told me that they're not my friend.
well, yeah, does that make sense? Like, let's say you went into work and you walked up to everybody that works there and you said, are you friends with Marston? How many would say yes?
I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, it's like, what do you
Am
think?
I friends with Marston, or
If
am
you
I
went up to
asking them?
every single person you work with, are you friends with Marston?
I feel like people majority would say yes.
Yeah. And then you ask, oh, like, why? What do you guys do? Have you ever hung out outside of work? No.
Well, that was the other thing. It's like, well, it's like this. Don't even think about it as work. Think about
Yeah.
time spent around each other.
Yeah. No, totally. And this isn't to say, like, oh, we're not friends. Like, I'm not trying to be cut and dry.
100%.
It's a philosophical question. It's to stimulate thought. Why are you friends?
Because we work in the same place, so we have around 40 hours of work
Yeah,
around each other.
we spend most of our time together because we're always working. You know what
We
I
have
mean?
the same profession.
Yeah, but you really only see
That side.
That side. You know, we had some people. I'm just gonna say friends. We had some friends that went to Europe. Group. How many people? If they were like, oh, would you go to Europe with Marston tomorrow? Just you two. Now you're in this close proximity, hanging out. Got to get closer. It's not just a work relationship. I don't know. It's like that's like the level of friendship. Does that make sense?
Like how many people would go on that vacation with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Probably not many.
Heard.
You know what I mean? But it's like, I don't know. I just think we as human beings can be really hypocritical, and we like things to be soft and cozy, and we'd rather not have difficult conversations, and we'd rather not talk about really what makes a good friend, and we would rather not hold our friends accountable. You know, we'd rather not, have difficult conversations with people that we're close to because we don't want them to get upset. You know what I mean? So, like, for example, you're trying to work on not drinking.
No, I'm trying to normalize a lifestyle with my relationship.
Totally.
With alcohol.
now we got to get to the point where we're gonna cut it. But I guess my question is just like, how many friends would stop you?
Yeah. How many friends would support that? And then it also
Not even just support. If you went out and you were at a bar and every single one of your friends saw you with a drink, how many would come up to you and say, "Hey, what are you doing?"
like how many would say like, "Hey, you've been
Or take the drink.
Yeah, you've been working on not doing this. Are you sure?"
No,
You
I would
question
literally.
me.
I would just walk up and take a drink.
Yeah, I know you would. I know you.
You're
would.
like, no, you told me you were going to work on this.
Yep.
It's my responsibility
And
as
it
your
goes
friend to
back
hold
into
you
the last
accountable.
podcast of now you have to have the hard
Yeah.
conversation because you asked the responsibility of
Yeah.
your friend.
But then people will tell you, be like, that's not my responsibility. Like, if he wants to drink, I'm just letting
He's
him
a
drink.
grown
I'm
adult.
here. Yeah, he's a grown adult.
But that's the
I'm
difference.
his boy. I'm
That's
his
the
friend.
passion. That's the
Yeah.
family.
Yeah,
There's another tier of friend.
that's what I'm saying. And people are real easy or real cozy being like, oh, yeah, we're really good friends. Well, not good enough. Mm-hmm. Why? Because it's hard? Because you can't...
You're so precious.
Because you can't go up to him and just be like, hey, dude, what are you doing? Confront him on that shit. Hey, dude, what are you doing? If you told me you were going to do something and every day you were like, man, I really wish I could do that. Eventually, I'd look at you and be like, fucking do it, dude. Don't come over until you do that. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm sick of hearing you talk about what you want to do and not do anything. I can't be your friend and watch you just do nothing.
You're so passionate.
Anyway, it's workout time.
Yeah, dude. So I'm just gonna close my book on this one.
Close
This
your
was life is so heavy, and like just going through like a friend's death, and like my cat just suddenly out of nowhere fucking got sick, and we tossed down like $1,100 and trying to think about going home and paying rent and going to fucking work and doing a podcast and being around friends
working out.
and working out and eating healthy, and now the wind's super heavy. Like it's just so like during these moments in life, it's just like when you're going through heavy shit, everything becomes sensitive.
Yeah.
Like I'm so sensitive to the wind right now. Like I'm over here like, our friends are coming in for the workout, the garbage truck's coming by, the neighbor dog's running over, this woman who we don't know is grabbing the neighbor dog. I'm like, life's crazy, man. So that's me closing the book. I'm excited for the next podcast. Love you guys.